Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Dem Boys leading out with Imperial Painter, Ancient Tomb, and a Painter Servant. A solid start for the deck. Once Upon a Time for All Beyond the Draw. They are running a red-green moon deck. We're talking Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, Chalice of the Void, looking to shut things down on the other side. City of Traders into a turn 1 Magus, and that's going to bottleneck both players' mana for now. We'll see how All Beyond the Draw is able to build out under its own Blood Moon. Thopter Copter? Smuggler's Copter? Smuggler's Copter. A legacy playable card, as it turns out. And that Painter Servant now actually going to be able to crew and get that loot going. Seasoned Pyromancer off of a Elvish Spirit Guide this time. Getting a couple of tokens. And with the land discarded, we got to assume that All Beyond the Draw is going to have plenty of land drops to continue building their mana base, playing out threats. Another Painter Servant off of a couple of mountains for Dem Boys. And this can actually jump in the way of one of these tokens, but we did see a Bone Crusher Giant. So that is something to be mindful of. Now he's got a Simian Spirit Guide along with that Goblin Welder. Could have opted to jam that in on his turn, give him some more options, but he did see the Bone Crusher Giant, and he may need enough mana to play and activate the Grindstone. Ooh, and now Chalice at 1. That is going to shut off this Welder and casting Grindstone. That is a deceptively good card versus Painter. It also stops that Red Elemental Blast in hand. Looting. And Goblin Welder goes to the bin. Oh, he's got the Karn. And Karn is an answer to Chalice. We'll see if that ends up being the best card to discard. Bouncing. And now that's just 3 mana. I'm actually not sure how that Karn was cast. I might have missed a Spirit Guide being pitched. Now we have an Imperial Recruiter. That Simian Spirit Guide should be exiled there into a... Is that a Goblin Crater Maker? I believe we've got a Crater Maker. Oh, okay. So he's got a Elvish Spirit Guide that he was supposed to exile for Karn. He forgot to do that, so it's all good. We are caught up. And the camera has been hit in the the resolution of this. So Judge is getting involved. He had cast Karn, and neither player caught that it was supposed to be for 4 mana. And he's exiling the Elvish Spirit Guide now. Yeah, that's probably the best case scenario. Otherwise, I believe the Karn would be just staying in play. I'm going to have all sorts of time this month to work on the store. It is closed, so practicing social distancing here. And the feature match area, definitely something to consider as well. This camera ceases to wobble. Right now it's suspended overhead from the ceiling. Maybe get some lighting in here. All right, that liquimetal coating going to work on Imperial Painter's mana base, making Chalice even more damaging. Each turn, going to be able to take out a land, and Chalice is going to remove that first rung of the ladder. Throws out a red elemental blast in hopes that I'll be on the draw. Misses that Chalice trigger. That was probably the only way this was going to work out. I'll be on the draw. Just going to strangle from here. Bonecrusher Giant goes on an adventure, clearing the Imperial Painter, and then comes down as a 4/3. And Demboy's scooping it up, hoping to have enough time to win games 2 and 3. Go ahead and see what I got for win icons. I'll try and improve those as well, see if I can get a little graphic made. Yeah, let me know in the comment the improvements you'd like to see for the channel. That would be helpful. All right, jumping out here with a great furnace into grindstone. City of Traders, and a turn 1 Magus of the Moon as well. Doesn't really do much to Great Furnace. It's still an artifact and now a mountain. So it's just taps for red. Very little change there. Simian Spirit Guide into Painter Servant. And now it is a bottleneck on mana. Blocking with the Painter Servant, and it gets crushed. Oh, devastating turn. Oh, that was a risky line, and it did not pay off. Goblin Welder coming in. Could have taken 2 damage a turn for many turns. All he needed was the mana to activate the grindstone. Instead, we're going to see how this plays out. Magus swings. Bonecrusher Giant, a 4 of in this list. Now, Goblin Welder kind of doesn't really hurt him that much because he's going to be able to activate Grindstone and then weld it out for Painter Servant. So that's potentially fine. He, at this stage, still just needs the mana. However, he missed his second land drop, and there's a Reclamation Sage going to hand. Lion's Eye Diamond, and he's got the win. He has the win. Cracking LED, discarding his hand. Activate Grindstone, bring back in Painter Servant. And that is game number 2, just like that. So Demboy's not ultimately punished there. Able to use Goblin Welder to get the job done. Lion's Eye Diamond, such an incredibly powerful card. Finds its way into quite a few legacy decks. A lot of times people just think of LED as something just for Storm, but there are quite a few decks that actually run it. Bomberman, Tin Fins, of course, you know, the Dark Ritual Storm-based decks, the most common of them, but Imperial Painter here. It's really a powerful card. The new blue Time Twister, like something of Aeons, Enter the Aeons, whatever it is. That one, really powerful. Underworld Breach, when it was in the meta, I mean, people were running Even in Delver decks, they started before the banning, started running Lion's Eye Diamond in there along with Breach and Brain Freeze, just as a kind of small extra I win package. So yeah, LED is, I would say, quite a staple of the format. It is in the upper echelon of power. I don't know what the Power 9 for Legacy would quite look like. You know, you've got things like Force of Will and Brainstorm that define the format, but in terms of the rarest, most powerful cards, I think Mox Diamond and Lion's Eye Diamond certainly part of that conversation. Tabernacle leads the list there. There are a lot of older rare cards that are just not necessary to play Legacy. Things like Moat in the Abyss, which are also pricey but can find their way into certain decks. And that's the beauty of Legacy. I mean, one of the many beautiful things about it, I think philosophically it's kind of very close to the idea of Magic as originally thought of, going back to the very beginning of the game. Any card you own, you can play with very few exceptions. And I think the cleaner the banned list in Legacy, the better. Though the other part of that is this format's so big and the card pool's so large that they can actually make a mistake and the format's still amazing. When you see a set like, you know, that Great Furnace, for example, and Mirrodin, when they had to ban so many cards in Mirrodin block, the block just felt like garbage. Like the whole thing was built around certain key cards, and when you get rid of them, it's like it kind of takes down a ton of cards with them. You really have a lot of collateral damage. Whereas in Legacy, you can take an axe to almost anything. Anything short of, you know, Brainstorm or Force of Will, fetch lands, things that really define the format. And the format's still going to be sweet. You know, we saw Deathrite Shaman, an incredibly common card in so many decks. And that got the axe, and the format ends up being even better. And even some decks that were thought to have needed Deathrite to even be a consideration, things like Death Shadow, ended up becoming better decks post-banning. So it really is a format full of potential builds and designs. Again, a turn 1 3-mana play, but this time it is going to be Imperial Recruiter. This will be a turn 2 Blood Moon in all likelihood. Oh, he's actually grabbing Elvish Spirit Guide, interestingly. Let's see what All Beyond the Draw has planned here. I wonder if that's the green card for a Force of Vigor. That could be a very potent response to the Painter Grindstone combo. Imperial Recruiter swings in. And not using that ESG does kind of feel like it's a trap. Goblin Welder coming out. ESG into Once Upon a Time. That grabs an Ancient Tomb. That should be in hand. And do we see a 4-mana Karn? That would be a powerful way to shut down activated abilities on the other side here. Painter Servant. Bone Crusher Giant response to take out this Goblin Welder. He goes to the bin, and now Once Upon a Time in response, grabbing a Mountain. Fetch land. And now another Goblin Welder. This one's sick. Damage coming in. Happy to take the damage this time out of the finish line clearly in view. Bone Crusher Giant comes back, and that is likely to do it unless there's some type of shenanigans on the other side of the table. There is not. No Emrakul or such card in the sideboard to prevent getting milled out. Not typically great use of a sideboard slot. Not like Imperial Painter is a major percentage of the metagame, but in this tournament it may be a contender. We'll see if it comes back on camera. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.